Hello, how you doing? Eh, what I want to do for you is another quick review because I got the camera rolling and I'm in the mood. So I'm just going to do a quick review of this quilt in another video in the series I like to call Review of Camping Gear that I have laying around. So what I'm going to review for you today is the Sierra Designs Nitro Quilt 20. And I'm probably going to take this thing off because it's a 20-degree quilt and I'm in my apartment and I'm already getting kind of toasty. I'm going to dive right into it. The first part of most of my videos I like to get into is why did I get this piece of equipment? Because, as I said, there's so many choices out there. How do you decide upon what to get? Well, so I got this thing about a year ago, and the reason I got it was because I realized over the years that I have basically been using my sleeping bags as people use quilts or blankets. So I decided that maybe it was time for me to try out one of these ultralight sleeping quilts. And that's what I decided to do with this Sierra Designs Nitro 20. I got it because I needed a quilt quick for a trip, and I didn't have time to wait for one of those made-to-order quilts from a lot of, your light equipments, your underground quilts, your hammock gears, Loco Libre gear. I could name off Catabatic gear, Noon Attack. I can just keep going. But I didn't have time to wait for a made-to-order quilt, and I needed one quick, and I didn't want to spend over $300 as well when I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. So I just got this Sierra Designs Nitro Quilt for a little bit above $200, about $215, $220 or something. I was able to get it delivered in time for the trip I was going to take and use it and try out the quilt. And over the past year, I've used this on a few trips, and I have to say that I enjoy it. I think I'm sold on quilts down to a certain degree. I'm sold on quilts down to 30 degrees, just below freezing. I'm not sure if I want to go colder with quilts, but for, we'll say 25, 30 degrees and above, I like using quilts. I might take this out for some colder trips and layer up and see how I like it. Or I might just go back to using sleeping bags for when the mercury dips into the teens and colder. Let's get into what you really want to hear about, the features of the quilt and what it's like to use this thing. Now, features, it's pretty simple. It's a quilt. It doesn't have a hood. It doesn't have a zipper. It's just this like sewn piece of fabric with a bunch of down inside. It's pretty much all there is to it. This particular model has 800 fill power duck down. They don't really tell you what kind of down it is on the spec sheet. Well, it's duck down. And in comparison with goose down, I mean, it fluffs up. I mean, I feel like duck down has a lower maximum fill power rating. I think 800 fill power is about as good as it gets. It may not seem as fluffy as goose down out of the box. When you let it fluff up and all that, it's fine. I don't know. I mean, it's down. When you start using it and it keeps you warm, who really cares? So 800 fill power, water resistant, duck down. It's got a 15 denier fabric. The outside fabric, I think, has a DWR on it. The inside doesn't. It's just feels a little bit smoother on the inside. It's got the foot box. The foot box is a sewn foot box. That's going to keep you a little bit warmer than your sort of zip or button-up foot box that you see on quilts. It's not as versatile, though. I didn't really want versatility for this degree rating. I'm going to use this when the temperature's in the 30s, 20s, maybe when it gets into the 40s. My feet might be a little warm. Well, I can slip my feet out of the foot backs in that temperature and just kind of have it drape over my feet and still be warm enough. I don't know. I think when you're dealing with something where temperatures go below freezing, a sewn foot box is the way to go. I mean, you've got, while I'm here, you've got these hang loops to help it fluff up, dry, or just hang it for storage. And then a couple of the unique features of this quilt are you've got your hand pockets, which help keep your hands warm, and also to wrap it around you. I probably could demonstrate that over the course of this video. And then you've got the head slot. And most quilts, what most quilts have is sort of a drawstring closure with a button to wrap it around your neck and your shoulders, and you don't pull it over your head. Well, this allows the versatility to wrap it around your neck and also use this head slot. I found in practice the head slot really is useful for back sleeping. It's kind of hard to use the head slot for side sleeping. I could probably demonstrate that here soon enough. But, and then another feature to discuss real quick is the way these baffles are sewn. And if you can see, there's compartments in the baffling. So you've got, it's sewn here, and then there's another compartment here down the side, and then you kind of have like a bottom baffle on the side. And what this baffling design I like about it is it prevents downshifting, because some companies, they advertise continuous baffles, and where it's just kind of one long tube from side to side. I've had sleeping bags with continuous baffles. I gotta say, I'm not totally crazy about the idea of continuous baffles all the way around, because it allows downshifting, and a lot of times when you're sleeping on your side or in the shoulder chest area, that down tends to shift over to the sides, and it doesn't keep you as warm in that area, and you get cold spots. Well, I think this sort of like sectioned baffle design, I feel that it helps prevent the downshifting, it helps prevent cold spots, and also this sort of kind of this final channel here, I think that kind of keeps the bag a little bit way down on the side, and well, it prevents this baffle from shifting all the way down to the side, which is nice, and losing insulation here. But it also kind of gives it a little extra weight here on the end and keeps this side baffle neck on the ground, kind of weighs it down in a sense. And that kind of helps makes up for the lack of width. This is, they advertise this, I think, is 46 inches wide. And so that's not as wide as a lot of quilts. A lot of quilts come in at 50 or 55 inches. But I think the way this baffle is, it kind of allows that side to sort of keep it way down and prevent drafts from coming in. So that's just a little bit of overview of the features that come to mind. Just a thing on the rating, you can see there's a rating here on the bottom. It says 32 degree comfort rating, 21 limit. Limit is typically, you know, those ratings, comfort's usually comfort for women. The limit rating is usually comfort for men, because apparently women's sleep colder generally. I don't know how that works in reality. I'm not a woman. Anyways. But I think this has the same amount of fill as the Sierra Designs 20 degree rated sleeping bags. Like the Cloud and the Nitro sleeping bags. In terms of fill weight, these come in at about the same fill weight, about 14.8, 14.9, 15 ounces of down fill. So I think the reason it gets a little bit higher rating, it's rated a little bit colder than Sierra Design sleeping bags, is because the head opening. And the head opening allows drafts and makes it a little bit harder to maintain warmth. So that's the reason I think it gets a little bit worse rating than the sleeping bags, despite having the same amount of fill weight. That's my theory. I don't have any scientific way to confirm that except for user experience, but that's just my theory on the fill weight and the lower limit. Now, let's talk about user experience, what you all really want to hear about. What is it like to use this thing? Okay, so I've used this in temperatures from probably about, I don't know, upper 20s, maybe mid 20s. I don't know how cold it got that night, but up to probably 45, 50 degrees. So I think this thing has a range of probably 25 degrees to 45 degrees, or a little warmer if you take your feet out of the foot box and kind of let your feet vent, because it gets a little toasty in there in the warmer weather. And I found it's comfortable up to upper 20s with really minimal layering. All I've really worn is I've worn a long sleeve shirt, and then I've worn, I had to wear pants, although I kind of overheated in the pants. I don't know if I really needed the pants when it was upper 20s. But, so I've been pretty warm in this. And what's it like to use it? I think it's got a good range. It doesn't have the sort of feature of being able to cinch down the sides. It doesn't have pad straps. And I think a lot of people see that as a downside with this quilt. In reality, I haven't seen it to be much of an issue because I'm able to wrap it around me. I'm able to take these sort of hand pockets, wrap it around me. You can keep it stable. You can even get the sides tucked under you. You can put your head in the head pocket, and that's helped stabilize it and maintain warmth. The problem with the head pocket is that they say this bag works up to 6 foot 3 inches. I'm 6 foot and I feel pretty tight in here. I think it'd be hard for someone taller than me, especially on the upper end of the range, 6'2", 6'3", to put on this head pocket and feel comfortable. But this is a unique feature, and it does keep your head pretty warm. It does keep your head pretty warm. And if you tuck in these sides. Oh, yeah. Oh boy, I'm warm. I'm pretty warm. So I'm pretty comfortable here. I got my head on the pillow, and I feel pretty comfortable and warm. And I'm able to tuck in these sides and prevent drafts. And I'm pretty closed up. So, you know, it doesn't have pad straps. People say that's a downside. I'm doing all right without pad straps. So, you know, it's okay. The problem with the head pocket is when you're side sleeping, it's a little hard. Well, you shift over and your back gets exposed. So, using the head pocket as a side sleeper gets to be pretty difficult. I can do this and tuck in the back behind me and to prevent cold spots. Kind of bring that corner around and tuck it in. Yeah, I mean, it's okay, but it's not great. It's kind of uncomfortable. So side sleeping, I take my head out of the head pocket. And then I just bring it over my head. And that makes it a bit more drafty. And that's kind of where things might get a little iffy, where when you're at the bottom end of the temperature range, it gets difficult to maintain warmth and comfort. So I'll wear a hat, I'll put on long sleeves. Maybe if it does feel cold enough, if I'm getting down to 20 degrees, which I haven't taken it down to that. If I'm getting down to 25, 20 degrees, maybe I'll even have to throw on a sweater or a jacket or a fleece or whatever to stay warm in my upper body. So it does get a little drafty if you're side sleeping, because there's just a lot of exposed area up here, and you can tuck it in. Say, as you can see there, I tried to tuck it in as I was shifting around on my side, but I guess the danger of that is it just does get a little drafty in there, and definitely can lose warmth, and you don't really want to be able to have to lose warmth when you're camping out there and it's in the 20s. I find that, but luckily when I'm camping, I'll switch sides every couple hours because I just get sore. And I just want to switch sides and I'm awake. And it's really not that big of a deal for me when I'm in this and I have to switch sides and kind of retuck everything in to make sure there's no cold spots. I think that's a worry with this, is that because of it's not as wide as your typical cottage made to order quilt, you might have cold spots. I really didn't run into that except in the head area. It's really hard to cinch down that head area. But as most quilts aren't designed to pull over your head. They're designed, as you know if you're watching this, they're designed to cinch around your neck. And if you want to cinch this thing around your neck, you're sleeping on your side, I mean, that's definitely doable. I just bring that far end, I tuck this thing in there, and then if you have a warm enough hat, I mean, you can just cinch this up, and you got enough padding here around your neck that you can stay warm. So that's just how I stay comfortable with this, how I keep drafts out. And even though it doesn't have features of draw cords, a neck head draw cord around the top, or doesn't have pad straps, I'm able to make it work. And in the 30s, I'm comfortable. When you start getting into the 20s, it gets to be a little bit iffy, and maybe it's time to upgrade to something with a little bit more of a warmth weighting. One thing I always like to touch upon in my videos is what are some of the downsides of the particular gear. And I really think I did touch upon that a little bit when I was demonstrating how to use this quilt. Obviously, there's no pad straps, there's no head cord, so it can be a little bit more difficult to cinch this thing down, to get out drafts, to keep yourself warm. And the other thing is this head pocket is usable, but if you're on the upper end of the recommended height, if you sleep on your side, it can be a little difficult, your side or your stomach. It can be a little difficult to use this sort of head pocket. But if you're able to sleep on your back, the head pocket is a great feature. And frankly, in warmer temperatures, it's actually a little bit too hot. And then I guess another downside is a sewn foot box. You can't open it up and draft your feet out and be able to cool your feet off or use this thing as a blanket. Now, I have found in the temperatures I use this in, which are 30s, 40s, 20s, I don't really need to open that up and let my feet out. I can use other methods like take my socks off or just kind of take my feet out and lay the end on top of my feet and be okay. I don't know. So those are some of the downsides. And then also, maybe we'll see how this thing holds up in the long run with this 15 denier fabric and the duck down and the stitching. It's been okay for a year with a few trips under my belt, but it's not like one of your super durable 20, 30 denier, I don't know. But the point of a quilt is to cut weight, and part of the cutting weight is you might have to sacrifice durability a little bit, but it's holding up so far and it's not losing a ton of feathers. I hadn't had any broken stitches or holes or anything like that. And then the final thing, in the reviews, people talk about holding it up to the light and seeing sort of sunny spots, empty spots, and maybe you can see that in this camera angle. I don't know, but that definitely happens. When you hold this thing up to the light, you can see the light through it. And I haven't, I don't feel like that's created cold spots. When this thing fluffs up, the down in here fluffs up, and I think it covers those cold spots. And because of this compartment section system, it keeps that down from shifting too much to create a giant cold spot. And most of your cold spots come from the ends or the edges of the quilt being open or exposed to the open air, rather than from those sort of sunny spots on the sleeping bag. So those are just a few of the downsides, but I haven't found them downside-y enough for me to look for a different 20 or 30 degree quilt for that sort of shoulder season or warm winter weather. This thing has gone on long enough, time to wrap it up, but I just wanted to do another quick sort of medium length review of the Sierra Designs Nitro Quilt 20 and what my experience has been with it, what I liked, didn't like. And I like this thing so far. I'm going to keep using it for the time being. I typically don't review gear that I don't like. So if I don't like it, I probably don't have a review for it. I just review gear that I have laying around, I've had for a bit, and then I actually like. And if you want to send me some stuff that I can review, sure, whatever. I don't know if that's please actually going to work, but who knows. Okay, but thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I don't know, comment, whatever. See you later.